Hello, so you might have noticed, all five of you who ever watched my videos, that I have not made a video in about over a year. Um, let's be honest, that's because I've not been motivated, I've not had any time to make videos, and I've had some stuff going on in life. So, first things first, I moved out of my family home in my cramped little bedroom, and I now have my own flat, and I now have a games room, as you can maybe see, or maybe not, because I'm only focusing in on one part of the games room because the place is an absolute riot. Um, but I mean, I've just not been motivated to make any videos. You know, life just gets in the way. It grabs you by the ankles and it drags you down the adult path. I suppose. So this is just a video. Just a sort of rambling video to say what I've been up to, what I want to do with my sort of hobby of video games, and what I want to do for kind of YouTube and other projects I've got going on. So yeah, so I've moved round to the other side of the unit so I can show you some of the gubbins lying on the floor, and so I can ramble some more as well, I suppose. So what have I been doing other than this channel, Thumbs Fight Wars? Because I've not done anything on the channel for ages, and I used to be quite motivated doing things for the channel, but then life gets in the way and I'm not motivated anymore, and this is sort of an exercise of motivation. I want to re-motivate myself to make videos, but we're going to do things kind of slightly differently. We're going to basically have my kind of nice casual discussion videos and sort of me kind of talking to the camera and doing like repairs and mods and things like that, just things that sort of please me. And then I've got a website which is called that'snotcurrent.com. The website's called That's Not Current. And that website is more journalistic. It's based on retro pop culture, based on video games and films and TV, and I do it with my friends, and it's a lot of fun. But I think I need to remotivate myself for both the website and this channel. So this is sort of this is me trying to sort of talk myself into doing the videos again, because it's hard after you've been working for 9 hours in a day and then you come home and you're wanting to just get something to eat and you're just wanting to chill out. But at the same time, in the back of your head, you're wanting to make videos and do things that are sort of more creative and hobbyist. So it's hard to motivate yourself to do those things, but at the end of the day, you need to have the motivation there. And this is me giving myself a sort of chance to motivate myself by making silly ad hoc videos like this. Anyway, let's talk about consoles and not about my stupid life. We've got some consoles on the floor. That Mega Drive there, I'm still using the rickety fecking, what do you call it, the tripod that I used to use in my videos. I just had to spray some WD-40 on the sort of lever section because it was squeaking. But it's not turned into dust yet, so we're not going to buy one just yet. Anyway, this Mega Drive, it wasn't outputting the RGB video properly, which I fixed that. It was just to do with the contacts on the port at the back. And also, it was a bit of a state. It had some scratches on it and other such. I'll just put it down and refocus. So, as you can see, it doesn't look half bad. It's quite glossy. There's not any dust trapped in these kind of rivets, and this glossy section is relatively glossy as well. And I just used some techniques I like to use to clean up consoles. I've came up with a couple of things of my own, which I think work really well on keeping these consoles looking good. So that's the type of thing I want to do in this channel. I want to do sort of repairs internally and cosmetic gubbins that happens externally as well. I want to show you how I do it and what happens with that, basically. Anyway, enough of you. I've also got these two consoles which I've been working on. They're both Japanese. I got them from both the same seller on eBay. I can't remember his name right now, or I would tell you. And he sells them ridiculously cheap because they're usually bogging, which means they were grubby and scratched and just not really nice looking. They basically looked like they were ready for the bin. Specifically this N64, it really looked clatty. It was scratched, it was dirt everywhere, and I used my magic and I cleaned it up. So it's looking pretty minty fresh. Doesn't look far off what my original N64 looks. In fact, it pretty much looks the exact same. It's just missing its expansion cover, which you can get off that wish.com or off like eBay for like £2, so I'm not too bothered about that for now. This PlayStation, this was also bogging. This PlayStation was yellowing which, funnily enough, it wasn't actual plastic yellowing, it was just dirt, so I scrubbed a lot of that off and it's pretty much back to its original grey colour. I might do some sort of the bleaching to the bottom of it, but yeah. So another thing I've had lying around for a while that I've never got around to doing a video on or even talking about is this little bugger. And I don't mean the actual Super Nintendo. I've had that for years. I mean this, which is a Super Wildcard, which is a floppy disk drive for the Super Nintendo, which I didn't know existed before I found it on eBay for around about, I think I paid about a tenner or something. I paid something relatively cheap for it compared to what people actually ask for them as a sort of asking price. So the idea is, and excuse this, it's not put on properly because I'm still kind of cleaning up this old SNES. Just put that back on. The basic premise of this is that you put a cartridge in the top and then you put a floppy disk in the side, and you can rip the ROM from the cartridge to the floppy disk, and then you ditch the cartridge and you can play them off the floppy disk. I just find it really bizarre that the lengths they used to go to pirate games. I mean, if you look at the likes of that, the PlayStation there, when I was younger, we used to pirate games by, well, me personally, I had a box for the back that goes in the parallel port there, and you would put a spring in the disc tray there. In fact, you put it basically there, the spring, and you could trick the console into going to you wouldn't really trick the console at all, because the parallel port at the back there I think was for like Game Sharks and things like that, and basically things for like cheat codes for games, which aren't illegal in themselves, but it was one of those where you could basically bypass the region lock and play like Japanese and American games, and of course copied games onto disc. You could play them on this. So it's funny to see it go from being quite simple sort of methods to pirate games to being whole big chunky bits of hardware sticking out the top of consoles that require basically require all this gubbins inside. There's chips galore in there, and there's a whole floppy disk drive, of which is not like a special floppy disk drive, it's just one you would get on a PC, which is hilarious. So it's just funny, it's amusing. I want to do a video on that, definitely. I'll probably do a casual video, and then I'll probably do a video as part of a series on the That's Not Current YouTube channel, which is basically just youtube.com/that's not current, and that's for the website, so that's going to have videos of a geeky nature on it as well. So I'll probably do some videos on that, and some other stuff that I've got lying around. As you can see, my collection has exploded. I mean, it's been a long time since I made a video. So before I was in my house, my childhood home, so I didn't have a lot of room, so that put me off buying anything extravagant. But now that I've got a whole kind of spare room in my flat, I just kind of, I can't help myself. If I see something interesting, I just have to pick it up. So I'm going to lift up the camera, and God forbid this tripod might just break and travel into another dimension, and that'll be me. My camera will be broken. I just wanted to sort of, before I wrap up this video, I'll just focus before I do this. Before we wrap up the video, I just wanted to show you this, and this is sort of my vision for what I want a set for sort of professional videos to look like. So this is my sort of section of the room for kind of sitting in front of and rambling about games. As you can see, I've got a kind of console tower there as well, and I'll go into detail about what's on that tower in the future. But I mean, for now, that's me done rambling. My throat's quite sore, and I'm going to go and get a cup of tea. So it's nice speaking to you again, guys. Thanks very much.